For me, I just thought it was natural to consider priesthood. And I think the reason is I have an older brother that's a priest. And he began seminary when I was very young, maybe 3 or 4. And so the idea of priesthood was just always there. And because my brother was in seminary, I got to know some of his brother's seminarians and many of the people that were sponsoring vocations. And being the younger brother of an older seminarian, I often got asked, so are you going to be a priest too someday? And I said, of course I'm going to be a priest. And so it was just natural. I always thought about it. And I come from a big family of 9 kids. I'm the youngest of 9. And my mom and dad were excellent examples of living the faith. They took us to Mass every single day. We prayed the rosary together every single day. We prayed before every meal. Faith was a part of my life. It was the most important thing. I even remember very clearly one morning in 4th grade, I was serving Mass, and I was getting ready to serve Mass. I was lighting the candles, and I was doing some calculations in my head, and I thought, well, if everything goes right, it will be 16 years before I get ordained a priest. And then I was a little bit sad because that's a long time when you're in 4th grade. Well, I got to high school. Things changed a little bit. I realized I was kind of living in a bubble a little bit, a Catholic bubble. I hadn't experienced too much of the outside world. I was homeschooled. And I started meeting some girls, and I was like, there's more to this, you know. And I started dating when I was in about a junior, right before my senior year in high school. I started dating, and dated for 2 years. And after a while, I was sure that I was going to get married. I had completely changed my outlook on seminary. So I went to college. I went to the University of Mary, and I was still living my faith pretty well. I went to daily Mass as much as I could, and but at that time in my life, my faith was more just actions than something that I really desired in my heart. It was Jerome Richter and Mike McMahon, and they both worked at the University of Mary. And they had this group called Knights of Virtue. That's exactly what it was. They taught virtue. And I will never forget the first meeting that we had. And all they talked about was being a man. And I realized that I wasn't a man. I was thinking like a boy my whole life. I was always thinking about what I want, and that's it. I didn't think about being a man. And I never realized how big of a change it made. One night, near the end of my freshman year at the University of Mary, it just hit me. The idea of priesthood just came back to me. It was the weirdest thing. It was powerful. It just hit me one night. I couldn't stop thinking about it. And so I started praying a little more. I talked to Father Waltz over the course of the summer. Before that happened, I should say, I made a prayer. It was a very selfish prayer, but it was a prayer. And I was so focused on getting married, so I said, God, if you want me to be a priest, you're going to give me a very clear sign that you want me to break up with this girl. God didn't exactly do it the way I planned. The girl broke up with me, and I was pretty crushed. But then the thought came back to me right away. I said, I prayed that God would give me a sign. And this was something I was not expecting. But I think God is making a point. I should start considering His will rather than mine. So I took the whole summer. I began praying like I really had never prayed before. It was in earnest. I desired a relationship with Christ, not just doing the actions of going to Mass and saying the rosary, which is good, but I hadn't had my heart in it, really. I was very lucky to be living in St. Joseph's Hall at University of Mary, and our vocations director, Father Waltz, was living up there, and the Bishop Emeritus Zipfel. And they were great influences on me. And Father Waltz started this group called the Discernment, which is a discernment group. We called it the Fishing Club, because of fishers and men. And I said, I'm going to be part of that. It sounds like good stuff. It was the best thing ever. I would look forward to the nights that we would get together, about 17 of us men, and we would learn about the priesthood directly from the source, Father Waltz. And it was beautiful. I met with Father Waltz, and he asked me, Paul, what's holding you back? I was like, I don't know. Nothing.